issue of urbanization is appreciated by Senator Sifuna and all his other colleagues in Azimio. It therefore means that even in their manifesto, I never had an opportunity to read it, they must have had something on housing. If they didn't, then they were not prepared to lead this country. I would have expected that being the case, Sifuna would have used this opportunity to punch holes the way he's attempting in our plan for housing, and then explain to Kenyans how better they would have done it. He is actually a good student, Sifuna, I'm realizing, but in a classroom of a bad teacher. Sifuna is correctly saying that one of the problems of failure to people to own houses in Nairobi is because of expensive land. He has said it. And yet in our program, that's exactly the number one thing that we have addressed. We are telling people with our program, we will give you free land and you will not pay taxes on that housing. We have responded to his concern. Number two, he's saying the building materials are too expensive. And he's telling us that we have increased tax on imported cement, and therefore we are not solving the problem. Sifuna, listen to me. In fact, the tax increment on imported cement, the increment should have been higher, because we want to discourage cement from being imported into Kenya for the reason that Kenyans, we are net producer of cement. We produce cement here, we've got all the raw materials, we have the technique, we have already the track record of producing cement, which we have been exporting to Uganda, Rwanda, and everywhere. We must discourage anybody from importing cement here. You can imagine the cement which the Chinese have been importing into this country for the last 10 years when Uhuru has been president. If that money had been reserved for the people who produce cement locally, the contribution to this economy in terms of actual finance and in terms of jobs would have been enormous. Student with a poor teacher in your classroom. Thirdly, Senator Sifuna, you give the impression that the president's hands are not safe hands, but you don't back it with any facts. It's just a statement that we cannot trust the president with another fund. You said NHIF fund, NSSF fund, they are a failure, and therefore we can't trust Ruto with the fund. Once upon a time, there was a president called Kibaki, and he allowed ministers to work. I'm lucky that I worked under Kibaki. Kibaki marked out particular programs for respective people. He marked out, what is more, Ruto is the one now who rolled out the current success that is called the TVETs institutions, Technical and Training Institutes. On the other hand, Senator Sifuna, Kazi kwa Vijana was marked to the former Prime Minister, Raila Odinga. And Kazi kwa Vijana became a serious, serious scandal when it was being presided over by the former Prime Minister. So the success of Ruto at that time, I pray for him because I don't know, people change. But the success that we saw him at that time, if I pray that he succeeds in a similar manner, our housing program is going to succeed. And the fears you are raising are real. The points you are saying that the people are not in slum areas by choice is true. The people living in the slum areas would love to come out, but they cannot come out if they have leaders like you guys, okay, who do not want to move the frontier of practice of leadership by breaking fresh ground, yeah, to allow for new ideas to guide our leadership.
Why can't this deduction be voluntary?
Precisely. You people, you are misleading the country to make housing look like it is tax, the 3% is taxation. It is not a tax measure at all. It is a saving. We are telling people, let us encourage you to save. Allow me.
Why is
there is so much financial illiteracy in this country that even Ponzi schemes, pyramid schemes, even Shylocks, even online conmen succeed because of financial illiteracy. People must know that saving is part of financial management of your income. Now, we have not been even allowed, because of the noise coming from Azimio, to remind wananchi that that person who is earning over 500,000 shillings per month, the maximum he will pay to this program, not pay, save, the maximum he will be helped to save is actually 2,500 shillings. 2,500, that's the maximum. Now, the misinformation that my brother wants to give the public, that they will have to wait for 25 years before they get the house, is exactly the problem.
You said it yourself.
No, I've not mentioned the word 25 years. Nobody will wait for 25 years. As soon as the houses are ready, people are going to queue for the houses. Not based on how much you've contributed, but the criteria that will allow the people in the queue to get, and you'll not wait until after you have saved 3 million for you to be given a house. You'll stay in the house and be paying for it, so that instead of paying rent, the money which you would have been paying rent is helping you to offset the house which you could clear in a lifetime.
Why does it have to be mandatory? That's the part.
So, let me say the things I don't like about the housing thing. Yeah, I'm also a Kenyan.
Yeah.
What I don't like about the housing is that because it is a saving, to me it looks like a national circle, okay? Let people go in voluntarily, slowly, after they have captured. Okay. The only mistake I see is that we are rushing people, giving them new information too fast. So we needed to precede this with better public participation, allow people to graduate into the scheme probably for a period of 2 years. People will have understood it. Then that way, the noise you're hearing would have been less. Me personally, I want to assure all the majority of Kenyans who are in this country and they are hustling and they are jobless and they don't have a pay slip, not to listen to these few Kenyans who are privileged, they are employed, they have a pay slip, not to confuse them to think that their was is their was, the money. And once the money is pooled, the administration of the fund finds already government is given free land, finds developers, for information, who find that there is a guarantee, yes, that the money you sink into that project, you'll recoup it because there'll be no default on repayment. The developers will not wait for the 21,000 to grow into 3 million for you to own a house. They'll put up the house, you will move out, you go to the bank to collect money to put up houses, because they know once you put up the houses, the people who will take will eventually default. Yes? That's what they fear. The banks fear giving the developers because they know it would be a bad loan. Okay? But now, because of this clear thinking, the banks will release money to developers. Developers will take the risk because the money which is pooled from the fund is guaranteed to go into it. Let me tell you, doomsayers like you, I don't know, doomsayers like you, like Sifuna here, I don't know where he was, in 2003. In 2003, when Mwai Kibaki and Michael Kijana Wamalwa campaigned on a strong platform of free primary education, they said it's not possible. In 2003, in fact, it looks like the only thing that has changed is remove Wamalwa, remove Kibaki, put there Ruto and his team. On the other side, it is still the same side.
Okay.
It was Uhuru who was saying that He was a presidential candidate who was saying that free primary education was not possible.
Okay.
They had refused to do forward thinking, which is what we are doing now. We have to. If you are a father who has a wife and who gets children, you have to be gifted with forward thinking. Otherwise, you don't deserve being called a father.
Okay.
In the same manner, these guys don't deserve. The world does not owe you a living. The world owes you an opportunity to make or earn a living. So, President Ruto and us, we are giving you an opportunity to earn a living. And you're saying, I owe my landlord something. You are really a mental slave.
Okay. Let's bring up.
And we are telling them, because we don't want to be punitive, so we have refused to relax.
Leave them out.
Relax. You'll have all the time. we are telling the teachers, relax. This is not a tax. If we wanted the 3% to be a tax, we would have said it. It's just that the way you have set this discussion, I had thought we would do housing and then do taxing. You can see he's running into issue of taxation. We are proudly going to tax Kenyans. Because some of the things he's using to defend the fact that we are taxing Kenyans are things which are traditionally in this country and all over the world are supposed to attract high taxation. He's talking about beauty products. Cosmetics traditionally must be, those are luxury items. They attract alcohol, cigarettes, they attract higher taxes.
But are you concerned then that...
Let me flow.
Okay.
And for this reason, the teachers will eventually understand. I was in a place called Ilunyo. We were burying a principal of a high school. And I sat there for 3 hours. All the heads of Luyaland were there. And they were bashing the government and bashing me. It took me 10 minutes to make them realize that they were confusing taxation and saving. For God's sake, 3% housing is not taxation. It's not a taxation measure. Senator Sifuna, you need not have been in the National Assembly to distinguish between budget making and raising money to foot that budget. The moment you read out your budget, you are also supposed to be accompanying with Senator Sifuna with tax measures on how you'll fund the budget. You think the success of Kibaki was that Kibaki sold his goats in Othaya or sold part of his property to fund national programs? No. Kibaki collected and managed taxes. We want to collect and manage taxes. Unlike you guys, your multinationals, not multinationals, the big companies that you own have not been paying taxes. You are giving tax exemptions to people who should have paid taxes. We are simply saying, let everybody pay tax. When you ask me that we go to a town hall meeting in Kakamega, and you tell me that invite only the working class. No. I want us to go to a town hall meeting, in fact, in Buhungu Stadium, and invite all the people of Western Province into the stadium, those who want to come, employed and unemployed. It is when it will become clear that the people in employment are selfish. They are selfish because they are privileged to have a job. So if you have a job, you should pay taxes so that services can then be given to you and the people who do not have a job. If you have a job, Sifuna, and you don't want to pay taxes, quit that job so that we give somebody who can earn that money and pay some tax. Now, most burning one is, he has said, we should increase the number of people in employment so that there are more people paying what he calls have 2 cows instead of 1 cow. Sifuna, construction of houses is going to be a game changer in the lives of the children that we are churning out of TVETs. Electricians, plumbers, masons, carpenters, name it. they are going to get jobs spot on. If you have ever constructed houses, and a lawyer man of over 40 like you already must have constructed a house, a Isimba, what have you. The mere act of constructing an Isimba creates jobs in your homes. Mama will cook for these people. I don't have to even explain. So jobs are going to come out of this initiative spot on. The issue you are worried about the construction materials and the tax measures that we have taken on it. All the tax measures in the finance bill, is a pity you're not an MP, so you are not obligated to read the tax bill. But just as a leader,
I have read it.
Very good of you.
Yes.
Hey, you are a lawyer. All the tax measures you're seeing in there, I have had the opportunity to sit with the president, not as an individual, but as parliament. And we've gone through these issues one by one. They are well thought out. Cement, I've already discounted. I've told you that it's good for Kenya for us to increase tax on imported cement so that our jobs by the private sectors, producers of cements, can actually thrive. 2, the furniture which is used in the constructive industry. We have deliberately imposed higher taxation on imported furniture so that we allow the people in Bungoma, the people in Sirisia, in Nalondo, in Luahaha, your home, to be able to sell their furniture. Kenyans will remember, was it 2 years ago, 1.5 years ago, there was this innovative young Juakali fellow who came up with a foldable table or stool, whatever you were calling it. The Kenyans are innovative. So, if in the carpentry sector, you say you're building these thousands of houses and you have a standard door. So you tell one Juakali Sacco that you will do the doors, the other ones you'll do the windows, and so on and so forth. That is called jobs. You keep on screaming about food and cleverly refuse to tell Kenyans what we are doing in the tax bill about some food commodities. Did you know, Trevor, that my brother who has read that bill has refused to tell you that in the tax bill, we have actually increased the tax on fish so that Kenyans don't eat fish from China.
Imported fish, yes.
We want Kenyans to take nets, to take whatever it takes to go and land into Lake Victoria, to land very early in the morning in the Indian Ocean, get out fish, and we eat this fish. Instead of Kenyans refusing to go and fish, waiting for fish from China. Finally, but not least, you have raised the important issue. Not finally. You have raised it was the Akola. Akola has said, why can't we save the same amount through NSSF? Brilliant. But I want to caution him that it is better to save it as a fund, separate fund, because you'll have ring-fenced it. We don't want money that was meant for construction being heaped together with other monies in NSSF, and it ends up doing something else.
That's not what they said, though. What they said is they're already saving through NSSF, so why do they need that?
Yeah, he said, why can't we save through NSSF?
They're already
which has already, yeah. So that is my contribution to that. Then Mheshimiwa wanted me to look very foolish, that I know nothing about ICT. He talked about what are we doing about the TikTokers? We are doing something, Mheshimiwa. We've even gone as far as creating a particular ministry headed by Eliud Owalo. This Ministry for Information, you are behind news. It has rolled out hubs. And they are being launched every day. You read papers every day. You see Owalo all over the place. We are cascading it down. At the moment, we have it in every constituency.
Okay.
It is going to be cascaded to every ward, and it will be cascaded to every village.
All right.